My ADHD was a gift. Now you have to understand, I don't see anything that anyone is born with as being a disability, and I know that ADHD has had those labels and it's been given that kind of almost really derogatory feeling about it when we talk about it, but I'm saying no, that's not what happened. Now, it's a problem when you don't know that you have it, that you were born that way, because I didn't know. I didn't know until I was 70 years old. So I spent the entire part of my life, all of my life, living with this and not understanding what was happening. And I'll tell you how that affected me, because then it impacts you when you understand how your brain works and how you create your life. So what I went through was not understanding why I was daydreaming so much. And they would always tell me, Roger, daydreams, and it's terrible. And then I couldn't read. I just didn't want to read, and they didn't know what that was. They thought I needed glasses, and I said, okay, maybe that didn't work. That wasn't it either. And so then I went to try to figure out, well, what is it? Why am I so different? But then I had to cope. Now, because I had to cope, because no one told me, I didn't know what this was. No one had diagnosed it. We didn't know that much about it then. This was a different time in our world, so I didn't even know anything about it. But because of that, it caused me to cope in a different way. I had to deal with my depression because that came along with it, because when you don't understand what you have, you can go into states of depression. So then now you start developing this persistent depression that goes on because you're changing your mind. You're using your neurotransmitters to create depression all the time. And that's what I kept doing because I thought something was wrong. And then at one point, my parents thought, well, we can give him something else to do. And so my mother, who played piano, says, well, let's give him piano lessons. Maybe that will help. Couldn't do it. I couldn't learn it. And it was just, I didn't understand it. Then I decided to go off later because I couldn't figure out where I was going to go, and I got a job. I went in and I took a test to get a job. I left college in the middle of it. I just got up and left because I said, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. And I went and got a job and did a test, because that's what we had to do then, an aptitude test. And I had just taken this test hours before at a different company. So when I saw this same test again, oh, that was great, because now I can just answer and get the ones I didn't get before, because I had this recall. I could remember things, and I went in there and I sat down and I did the test. They came out and looked at me and they thought I was a genius, because they said no one has scored this high on this test. I said, okay. They gave me a job right away. I was 19 years old and I was making more money than ever. And then I went on to do more things, but then they started getting nervous. They said, you're not supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to have a college degree. So they wanted me to go back to college and all that. I said, don't want to do that. I'd left already. I tried again, but I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Then I had to go and get another job because it came about. Somebody came and offered me something else. I said, perfect, because I don't want to go this college thing. There's something else I'm supposed to do. And this job was different. I didn't know anything about it. It was being a manager of a beauty salon. I go, what? What the heck? I'll do it. And it was probably the best thing that I could have done, because it led to everything else, you see, because then I didn't know what I was doing. They were going to train me, but then the person that was going to train me left because they had to go in the hospital. So I'm now left by myself. What am I going to do? Didn't know. I had to rely on myself, and I just had to figure it out somehow. I didn't study a lot. I didn't have this education, so I didn't know what to do. And then over a couple of years, all of a sudden, this business is booming, and it's making all this money. And the company, the main company, wanted to know, what is he doing? I didn't know. They kept calling me to New York to ask me, what is he doing? I didn't know. Then later on, after many other things that had happened, I came back and I said, now let me go back and do music again. This is later on in my life, because I just kept changing, done all those other things. I said that was fine. And then my coach at the time, who was a vocal coach, said, and he was the biggest in the world, basically to me, or the biggest in this country, and he said, you have to coach, and you have to quit your job and do this. I thought, I can't do that. And so I said, okay. But he said, then you just have to give lessons. I said, but I don't play the piano. He goes, well, just learn. I couldn't tell him I couldn't do that, because I had tried so many other times. I kept trying. Even as an adult, I kept going back and trying. Didn't work. So I thought, what am I going to do? So I hired someone to play the tracks for me. thinking I don't have this ability to do it myself, so let me find another way. And I found a person who could play the piano, recording for me, and then I started using it. And people thought that's really weird because I was doing something different than other coaches had done at that time. No, they've kind of copied me. However, but I started doing that, and then I noticed something else. I was reading my clients. I was figuring out stuff from my clients. I didn't understand it, but I'm staring at them. I'm watching them sing. I could see how they were receiving this. I could see how much they embraced themselves or how uncomfortable they were with their voices. And so I started reading different things about personal development. And I go, this is really crazy. So someone else noticed me, and then they contacted me about doing a business. I said, okay, great, I'll do this business, online business, because that was starting now. That was big. I said, I'll do that. And then we did it, and it became a huge success. And we made all this money over time. My partner at that time, my former partner, said, we made over $1 million selling this program. And this was something that I couldn't do because I had ADHD. I couldn't do it because that's what everyone told me I couldn't do, because I had to learn these things to be able to accomplish this. But then now I'm making all this huge money. That's crazy. Then years later I said, okay, I've learned all of this now, and I have all this personal development stuff, and I've been through everything in my life. I've done everything. I've recovered from so many other things. So there must be something I'm supposed to do with it. So I said, okay, I'll put together a program. A personal development program. And I did it, and I kept trying, and I kept doing it over and over again. And then I got to a place where I understood, oh, I have everything. And then I came up with your last development program, because see, then I knew that I had developed what I was supposed to in this life, and it came to me because I had ADHD. That's why it was a gift. Because now I have something that I can work with people and get them to understand that they're so perfect, that whatever they were born with, they were supposed to have it. All they have to do is understand it, learn how to use it, and then create a life that is magnificent. That's every single person. But what we can do is start to judge ourselves or doubt what we have or not believe it. And because I'm intuitive, I can always see that with my clients. I didn't understand it when I was doing it much earlier. I didn't even know what I was doing. I was creating coping mechanisms even to deal with the ADHD, and I didn't even know how that was happening. And so now what happens is when I work with a client, I don't see any challenges that you have. I see no problems. I don't care what you've been through in your life. I don't care what you've done. That was not a problem. It was something that you gained wisdom from that you're supposed to use once you understand it. But see, sometimes we don't understand it because we've been convinced that something's wrong with us, or that we have a problem, or that we have a disability. None of that is ever true for any person. There's not been a single person born that has something that is not valuable, that doesn't have something that is valuable. Every single person has it. And fortunately, because I couldn't do all the other things because I had ADHD, I wasn't going to study all these books, I wasn't going to do all of that, I started receiving information. We have intuition. We all do. We're connected to source or energy or something. We have something that we can receive information. Because I wasn't focused on all the other things that other people were doing, I started developing my intuition. That's why I could sit down and talk to people and say, this is what I see for you. No, I think you're a little blocked here. I know all of that. I even channeled how to coach. I did that. I wrote something about it the other day and put it out there. That was from 1997 when I started receiving information about how to coach. Then I started receiving information about how to perform, because I was performing all the time as well. All of it came that way. And I would never have done it, probably, if I had discovered that I had the ADHD, my life would have gone a little bit differently, I'm sure. But it didn't matter, because it was still perfect, because now I can help others understand who they are, and that's what I am doing now. Your authentic self is what you're supposed to live. And it may take you some time to get there. It may take you some time to even understand it. But you have within you everything that you need to create a magnificent, successful life. And it doesn't matter when it happens, because I pulled all of this together later in my life to understand the great big thing that I had, which was this program. But it was over 40 years that it took me to accumulate all of this information and now be able to use it. And I know that every single person has what's within them to live a magnificent life, and all I do is get you to uncover it. Whether I'm working with you as a coach or in my program, it's the same thing. And you have to know that your authentic self, your God-given self, what you were born with, is your gift, all of it. There's no exceptions in that. And there's nothing that gives me greater joy than to guide people in that direction, cause them to see what is there, and come to this euphoric state where they are so happy with who they are and they are loving themselves. Everyone has that ability.